These guys are not letting him stand. Fury's in trouble. The big fella, the Gypsy King.
From Ukraine, Oleksandr
Make sure y'all stay on point with
The Puncher's Point. What is good, y'all? It's your boy Mario back at it again, and we have got the most anticipated heavyweight rematch in who knows how many years. I mean, honestly, the closest thing in recent memory that you could say was more hyped was Wilder and Fury. Regardless, Fury's back at it. Oleksandr Usyk is back at it, and here we go. The only difference, unfortunately, from this fight compared to the last fight that they had was the IBF title will not be on the line. Obviously, Usyk decided to vacate that belt. Dubois ended up winning the IBF championship, and Dubois is going to be waiting for the winner of this fight. But before that, Dubois has to fight Joseph Parker for that IBF title. So who knows what could happen. But overall, it is a very exciting time for the heavyweight division. And this rematch is extremely important to boxing. Again, another fight in Saudi Arabia. Both guys are going to go at it again. The first fight had Oleksandr Usyk winning by split decision. So now what happens in the second fight? First, can Usyk repeat? Does Fury even up the score? And overall, what do these guys got to do? Does anything change from the first fight? And in order to answer those questions, we got to start giving the fighter a breakdown, okay? Let's start off with the champion, Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk, I mean, let's be real. The guy has some amazing footwork, and what I really admired about Oleksandr Usyk was he was the first boxer to potentially outbox Tyson Fury. You know, obviously the fight was extremely close. I had it exactly how the judges had it. I had Oleksandr Usyk winning that fight. But he was able to outbox Tyson Fury. And the question I had before that fight was, how can Tyson Fury do against a guy who can also box just like him? Because Tyson Fury, for the longest time, was considered the slickest boxer in the heavyweight division. He had a lot of power punches in that division, and he was just outboxing them all. You know, Chisora, Deontay Wilder. I mean, he was just out any power puncher you could think of that he went up against, even Klitschko, he outboxed him. So it was going to be very interesting to see how he was going to do against a guy like Oleksandr Usyk, whose boxing ability was right up there with his. And Oleksandr Usyk proved that he was the better boxer. Now, those first 4 rounds, obviously, it started off pretty slow, but he ended up picking it up after round 5 and then the historic 9th round where he knocked him down. And after that, I mean, it just seemed like Usyk edged the win. Now, as far as the strengths for Usyk, excuse me, the strengths for Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk, the guy is a very, very good boxer, and on top of that, he's got a very, very good jab. See, the thing is with Oleksandr Usyk, the thing is with his jab, everything gets set up with that jab when it comes to Oleksandr Usyk. When he uses that jab to great effect, I mean, he basically sets up everything else. Everything else comes along with it. The other thing about Usyk is that footwork. Now, we've talked about a lot of Ukrainian fighters. Obviously, Lomachenko comes to mind, but Usyk's footwork is right up there with his. And the thing is with Oleksandr Usyk, I think that's what separates him from a lot of fighters. Even though Tyson Fury's got some decent footwork, Oleksandr Usyk's got the best footwork in the heavyweight division because this is a guy who, remind you, he started off, well, technically he started off at light heavyweight. I mean, in the amateurs and everything like that. But his professional career, I mean, cruiserweight was where he was at for the most part. And we seen what he was able to do against some of the best cruiserweights. You know, guys like Bradis, guys like Tony Bellew. He was able to have a lot of success in that division. And the one thing about him was his quickness was able to match up with those guys at cruiserweight. So then what happens? He goes up to heavyweight, and that quickness never left. And that was the thing that I don't think the heavyweight division was expecting from him. Guys like Anthony Joshua, guys like Derek Chisora, guys like Tyson Fury, they didn't expect the footwork to basically translate to heavyweight division. Once you got heavier, people just expected him to kind of be susceptible to power, and they thought he was going to crumble, but he kept on chasing them all down and knocking them all down one by one. And Daniel Dubois is on that list as well. Let's not forget that. The other thing about Oleksandr Usyk is the tempo. The tempo that he has. He carries a fast tempo when he goes into that ring. And the combinations he has, they're super quick and they're super swift with it too. A lot of his knockouts, they were based off of precision. I'm not going to say he has no power because obviously he does, but It was always precision. It was always accuracy. He always hit you when you least expected it. And a lot of the guys that he got hit, whether that was heavyweight, whether that was cruiserweight, light heavyweight, regardless of what it was, whenever he would hit a guy, they didn't see it coming. They didn't expect it. And I go back and I look at the first fight that he had with Anthony Joshua, where he was the challenger, and that was his first world heavyweight title opportunity. And what I noticed about it was he was so good at, starting off with the jab, hitting some 2-3 punch combinations and just slipping out. I mean, the guy's so evasive, and that is one of the biggest things with Oleksandr Usyk. Even though he's only had one knockout in the heavyweight division, regardless of that, you can tell that his tempo, his accuracy is enough to basically get all these heavyweights thinking twice. The other thing about Oleksandr Usyk, he's very good with body shots. Obviously, now we're gonna get to the weaknesses, and the weaknesses has to do with body shots. But as far as the strength, he's very good at going to that body, and he's very good at basically depleting his fighters' gas tanks. I mean, we saw it in the Dubois fight. The Dubois fight, even though he was controlling the fight, Dubois in those early rounds he looked fresh, and then after the infamous, low blow body shot controversy. After that, I mean, Usyk, you could tell he just had a new breath of fresh air. And basically, what he was able to do is once he was able to realize that his opponents were kind of gassing out a little bit, he was able to go in and basically just take care of business and drag them into deep waters when they were gassed. And that's the one thing about Usyk that I really do respect. Now, as far as the weaknesses with Usyk, let's name the biggest one right now. He cannot take body shots. I don't care who it is. He cannot take body shots. As a matter of fact, everybody talks about the Daniel Dubois body shot. Go back to his amateur career and watch the one that Better Be have knocked him down with. He can't take body shots. I mean, that's his weakness right there. If you can hit him in the body and you can constantly hit him in the body, I'm surprised nobody has just constantly targeted his body yet. Obviously he's super slick and he would catch on to it quick, but I'm surprised people haven't targeted the body more than what they should. Oleksandr Usyk cannot take a body shot, and the truth of the matter is, if you're going to beat him, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to deplete his gas tank, and that's the best way to do it. And you could hurt him in the process too. Now, in my opinion, I believe that the Daniel Dubois body shot, I believe that was a legit body shot that they called a low blow. Obviously, it was right on the waistline, and they say it anywhere below that spot, not on the spot, but anywhere below that spot, it is illegal. However, when a referee goes, this is clean, that is clean, he's pointing to the waist, and that's exactly where he got him. So I think that was a body shot. I think that Dubois, if we're going off of that, he should have won that belt, but obviously it was the wrong call. It wasn't in his favor. The other thing about Oleksandr Usyk is what I noticed in that Tyson Fury fight, because to be honest with you, I mean, Anthony Joshua had some decent success with combinations against Anthony Joshua. I mean, against Oleksandr Usyk, excuse me. But the problem was Oleksandr Usyk was just too quick for him. But when Anthony Joshua ended up getting those 2-3 punch combinations in on Usyk, he was able to do some damage. With Tyson Fury, I think he kind of took more of an advantage to that than Anthony Joshua did. When Tyson Fury was fighting Oleksandr Usyk, especially in those first 4 rounds, because that's what I look back on, he did a very, very good job of sticking him with that jab. That's another weakness, I think, as well. Even though Usyk is a good boxer and he does have great defense, I feel like somebody like Tyson Fury, he's gonna have to go and use that jab. Another thing is when Usyk comes forward, that is your best chance to counter him. And trust me, if he comes forward and he makes a little bit of a mistake, you cannot miss. Because Usyk gives you very, very little room for errors. But when he makes those errors, you have to capitalize on them. And what I noticed in that first fight was, especially those first 4 to 5 rounds, where Tyson Fury, what he was doing was he was sticking him with that jab. And then when Usyk would come forward, he would either hit him in the body or he would hit him with an uppercut. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. I thought that was a brilliant way to defeat Oleksandr Usyk. You got to get him with with those power punches, with those counter punches. You have to get him into the body. You got to make sure that you keep on depleting his gas tank. And every single time he comes forward, you have to make him think twice. And I feel like Tyson Fury had the best success at doing that. The other thing with Oleksandr Usyk as well is even though he's got a great gas tank, towards like he ended up picking it up in the later rounds. But what I also noticed was he kind of started slowing down a bit. Now, what I mean by that is in that fight, when Tyson Fury won those first 5 rounds, in the middle rounds, that's where Usyk really took over. That's where Usyk really started to gain that momentum. And in the later rounds, even though he still had some gas left, I could kind of see Oleksandr Usyk slowing down a bit. Now, overall, I feel like if you're going to beat Oleksandr Usyk, I feel like you got to beat him in those early rounds and you got to get at least half of those middle rounds in order to beat him. Once you get to the later rounds, I feel like if you have a good, let's see, for the first 9 rounds, if you have 6 out of those 9 rounds won and you win 1 out of those 3 last rounds, I feel like you can win that fight. Now you should go and win every round you can, but in my opinion, the middle rounds are the most crucial rounds to beat Usyk with. Now, with that being said, let's get straight to Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury, we talked about what he did in those early rounds, but what about the middle and late rounds? What went wrong? Well, in my opinion, first off, if you go back and look at that fight, I think Tyson Fury was having way too much fun than what he should have been in there. That was an undisputed heavyweight championship fight. That was the first ever 4-belt undisputed heavyweight championship fight. And it was the first undisputed heavyweight championship fight in who knows how long. I mean, I can't think of the last time there was an undisputed heavyweight championship fight. But what happened there was he was having a little bit too much fun. In those first 4 to 5 rounds, I think he got a little bit too comfortable. The thing is with Tyson Fury, if you go back and you look at all the times he got clipped or knocked down, left hook. It's always been the left hook. Though I'm telling you, southpaws, it's tricky with Tyson Fury. See, the thing is with Tyson Fury, he's gone up against so many power punchers, but he was able to outbox them. But the problem is his biggest or his worst moments have came from power punches. Deontay Wilder knocking him down. Christian Hammer had a good knockdown against him. I mean, there were a lot of guys. Excuse me, not Christian Hammer. My bad. I got the guy wrong. Um, Steve Cunningham. That was the name. Steve Cunningham had a great knockdown against him. Francis Ngannou, another perfect example. Oleksandr Usyk, another one. If you go back and you look at it, most of those guys have been southpaws, and I feel like that's something that he's going to have to watch out for. He's constantly, in my opinion, I think he was having a little bit too much fun in there. I think he got too careless, and him doing that little, like let's go in and let's throw 5 punches just for fun. Usyk came, hit him with a hook, and that's when it really started changing. And I feel like after that hook, I feel like Tyson Fury kind of let go of the gas a little bit. He started respecting Usyk's power a little too much, and that gave Usyk room to kind of pick up on the scorecards and catch up and basically win that fight. So I feel like in this fight, what Usyk's going to have to do is I feel like Usyk is going to have to take this fight more seriously, and he's going to also have to be more cautious, but not cautious to the point where you're letting him catch up. I feel like Usyk is going to have to rely on that counterpunching ability, and he can't be too careless. He can't have too much fun in there. You lost the first fight. You need to get this rematch. So it's time to, be serious and straighten up. Overall, the one thing about Tyson Fury is when this fight happened, he weighed 262 pounds. Now, to any other heavyweight, that's heavy. But to Tyson Fury, that's not. And Tyson Fury in this fight, I would like to see him at least around 270, 275. Because the one thing about Tyson Fury, and Breezy used to say it a lot, is Tyson Fury always used to lay his weight onto his opponents. That's how he was able to tire Deontay Wilder. Whenever he would basically start picking up the pace, he would always lean on Deontay Wilder. And I'm sorry, when you have a 275, 285-pound man leaning on you and putting all that weight on you, you have to go 36 minutes in a fight for 12 rounds. And then on top of that, you have a guy who's 285 pounds leaning on you. That's definitely going to ruin your gas tank. And I feel like in this fight, because he was lighter, and I understand why he came in lighter, because he wanted to be more evasive. He wanted to be quick for Usyk, which I get. But the problem is with that, too. When he let go of that weight, I feel like a lot of his power kind of went away with it. I feel like those extra 10 pounds, those extra 15 pounds that he had, 20 pounds, whatever it might be, I feel like that is the big key right here for him winning this fight. Now, as far as his strengths, Tyson Fury, again, a very, very good boxer. He's got a very, very good jab, and he's got good head movement. Those to me would be his biggest strengths. He was always a slick boxer. They were saying he was one of the slickest heavyweights since, especially defensively, since Muhammad Ali. I don't personally agree with that, but that's what everybody was saying. They have not seen a heavyweight that can move like that since Muhammad Ali. And I'm not going to lie, for a guy who is as heavy as he is, he's probably one of the heaviest heavyweights that I've seen in a very, very long time. He's able to move pretty well. I mean, they say he moves like a middleweight, and I completely agree. The guy, he's very quick for his weight. The other thing about Tyson Fury as well is Tyson Fury, I've always said he was always very good at feints. He was always good at, at just not even just throwing a punch, just feints, just quick, like, little twitches and making guys kind of shift their defense in order for him to open up something. I always liked his jab. And then on top of that, he's got some decent footwork as well. I always loved how he was able to use that jab, hit a guy with the hook, and then basically move around him. He was always very, very good with that. And before Usyk came in, I said it, he was probably the best boxer in the heavyweight division. He, as far as boxing abilities and being able to be swift and quick, he was the best one at it until Usyk came along. And then he started realizing that Usyk was a little too quick for him. So then you might be asking, well, if Usyk's a little too quick for him, why do you want him at 275? It's because I do believe that in order to beat Oleksandr Usyk, you need power. And in order to beat him, you also going to have to gas him out. And the best way to do that is to be at a heavier weight. See, Tyson Fury proved that he can box at 275, 285 pounds. He's proven that time and time again. But the one thing that Tyson Fury hasn't really proved is how good can he be when he takes a fight seriously against Oleksandr Usyk, and how good can he really be when he starts bumping up the weight? You beat him at 262. Try beating him at 275. That's a 13-pound difference. Now, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, weight doesn't matter. Usyk's just going to go in there and beat him again." I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. Now, as far as other weaknesses with Tyson Fury, again, I mentioned the left hook, but other weaknesses with Tyson Fury as well. I feel like with Tyson Fury, after looking at what Usyk was able to do to him with the counter punches and basically being able to outbox him and use quick foot movement, I would say that's a weakness of his as well. I mean, like I said, power punches gave him some trouble at some points, but at the same time, Usyk being able to outbox him, that was something that, a lot of people really didn't see coming. A lot of people wanted Usyk to beat him, but the problem was not a lot of people believed that Usyk could. And then when Usyk finally did it, a lot of people were like, Usyk is legit. He is for real. Usyk's been the boogeyman since he's gotten to the heavyweight division. Again, Chisora, Joshua, Dubois, Fury, they all fell. So I got to tip my cap to Usyk. The guy's done a great job since he's gotten to the heavyweight division. But the one thing is this. Here's the one question I have. I've seen Tyson Fury in rematches. I've never seen Tyson Fury. I've never seen how Tyson Fury does when he bounces back from a loss. And the truth is because he's never suffered one until Usyk. So now here's the other question. Can Tyson Fury bounce back? Tyson Fury has something to fight for. Obviously, everybody knows Tyson Fury's story, how he ended up beating Vladimir Klitschko, and after that, he went into a downward spiral. We're not going to get too far into that story. And he said that Deontay Wilder brought him back into the sport of boxing. That's what gave him new motivation. In my opinion, before Usyk, I believe Tyson Fury was losing that motivation. And then when Usyk beat him, now all of a sudden you have something to fight for. I saw the interviews with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury he looks focused. He looks ready. I'm honestly, he looks more serious. Now, overall, the question is, can he bounce back? Can Tyson Fury bounce back? And that is the question. So what are they going to have to do? Compared to the first fight, how is this going to have to be different from the second fight? Well, for Oleksandr Usyk, in my opinion, I think you need to start off fast. I think you need to start off fast and you need to put that boxing ability on display. I think that your gas tank is going to have to be a lot better. And I think that in this fight, if Tyson Fury is going to come out heavier, which I expect him to come out at least between 270 and 275, maybe a little heavier. But what I expect from Oleksandr Usyk this time around, I think he's going to have to do a very good job of keeping his distance away from Tyson Fury. Get him on the inside a little bit, get him with some counters, but also make sure that you use your footwork and your footwork is on display and it's on peak. I think his footwork is going to have to be better in this fight than it was the last fight because he's going to have to get away from Tyson Fury because the second Tyson Fury gets on him, you're going to start seeing that gas tank drain. I think that Oleksandr Usyk is going to have to kind of sneak that left hook in at times. And I think he's going to have to make sure that his power translates. We're going to see if Oleksandr Usyk can do the same thing he did in the first fight the second time around. And he proved that he could do it against Anthony Joshua, but can you do it against Tyson Fury, who is the second best heavyweight right now? I think that if Oleksandr Usyk can use his footwork, if he can use his jab, if he can take advantage on the inside, if he can basically keep his distance and keep Tyson Fury away from him and keep Tyson Fury away from leaning on him, I think Oleksandr Usyk can have a very dominant decision. With Tyson Fury, what's he going to have to do different? Well, I'm going to say stick to the same game plan you had the first 4 rounds, the first 5 rounds. When he comes forward, you counterpunch him. Hit him in the body. Hit him in the body more. Because I'm sorry, that's the way you're going to beat Usyk. Hit him in the body more. You make sure that power. You make sure that power translates to his body. Whenever you hit Usyk in the body, make sure you hit him with everything you got. Because that's the best way you're going to drop him. That's the best way you're going to deplete his gas tank. And that is the best way you're going to survive in those later rounds with Usyk. Use that jab. Make sure you keep on hitting him with that jab. You keep on slapping him with it. When he comes forward, hit him with a hook. You make sure that you give Usyk reason not to come inside, not to be the pressure fighter. That's what you have to do. And you force Usyk to bring the fight to you. And when he does, you counterpunch him. So I would say counterpunching from Tyson Fury and hitting him in the body. And last but not least, take this fight seriously. I don't want to see Tyson Fury giving stupid faces while he's moving his head and him basically dancing in the corner. I don't want to see that crap. I need Tyson Fury to get into this fight and treat Usyk like his legacy is on the line. When your legacy is on the line, how will you respond? That's what Tyson Fury is going to have to do. Now, I should have did this before I got onto the podcast, but we're going to do it right now. So with that being said, let's get these betting odds up. So as of right now, December 16th, Tyson Fury is a plus 126 underdog, while Oleksandr Usyk is a minus 212 favorite. So, with that being said, where are we? Where do we go from here? What's going to happen? Well, in my opinion, if I'm looking at these odds, who should you go with? In my opinion, I do believe that this is a 50-50 fight, just like it was the first time around. I do believe that this is going to be a close fight. Now, if you ask me, okay, this is if he does everything right, okay? I'm going to go with Tyson Fury by unanimous decision. I'm going to go Tyson Fury unanimous decision, and he knocks him down once. I think he'll knock down Oleksandr Usyk, maybe with a body shot, potentially. I think Oleksandr Usyk will get back up, recover, and I think Tyson Fury is going to end up winning this fight. I think in this rematch alone, I think we're going to see Tyson Fury come out heavier. And by the way, this is what my prediction is if Tyson Fury does everything right. In my opinion, he needs to come in heavier. So if Tyson Fury is around 275 pounds and he goes in there and he counterpunches and he ends up hitting Oleksandr Usyk more into the body, don't be surprised if you see a knockout. Because again, like I said, Usyk cannot handle a body shot. That has been his weakness for the longest time. But if Tyson Fury is able to counterpunch him throughout the whole entire night, take this fight seriously, make sure he protects himself at all times. If he's able to counterpunch him, hit him in the body, take advantage of the body, and gas him out in those later rounds, I could see Tyson Fury win this by unanimous decision. Honestly. I can also see him winning it by knockout. Now, you might be asking, well, should we bet on Oleksandr Usyk? Yeah, absolutely. I do believe this is going to be a close fight. I gave you all the keys that Usyk can have to winning, and I believe that he could do that. And again, it's not a guarantee that Tyson Fury is going to come into this fight and be all serious and go in there and whoop his ass. It's not a guarantee. But in my opinion, if you're going to place a bet on this fight, place it on Tyson Fury. I think he's going to even up the score, and we are going to get Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk 3. That is my prediction. I got Tyson Fury by unanimous decision. But with that being said, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, this is another good card on the Riyadh card. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's Riyadh season. They're doing great things. Obviously, we got Bivol versus Better BF2 coming up in February. So overall, shout out to Turki Al-Sheikh for doing his thing. Shout out to, Saudi Arabia for putting up these great fights. And overall, I mean, Usyk versus Tyson Fury too. It's unfortunate because the only difference is it's not going to be for undisputed. WBA, WBO, WBC belt's going to be on the line. The IBF belt is obviously with Daniel Dubois. And we're going to have to see who wins between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, And we're definitely going to be giving our predictions on that one as well. That's going to be the co-main event on Better BF versus Bivol too. But as far as this fight, we got Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, December 21st in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And who knows what's going to happen? Do we see Usyk get the sweep on Tyson Fury? or do we see Tyson Fury even up the score? That is the question. And overall, are we going to see a different fight than we did the first time? And I can't wait, honestly. I'm really excited to see what happens on December 21st when these two step into the ring again against each other. I think that Tyson Fury is going to have more of a respect for Oleksandr Usyk this time around. I expect Usyk to come in serious as he's always been, and overall, I just can't wait. I think it's going to be another great fight. But we're going to have to wait and see. With that being said, I say it's time for me, Puncher's Point, to sign off. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all follow all the social medias. Make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast. Make sure y'all just keep intact with the Puncher's Point. We're going to keep coming out with content every single day. We're going to keep on coming out with videos every other day. So make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point. What's up, y'all? If y'all love this episode, make sure y'all subscribe. You hit that notifications button, and also take a look at the recent episodes that we made before this. Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.